Cosby and money. Bill Cosby was just hit with a verdict in which he's going to be forced to pay $500,000 to a woman he allegedly assaulted back in 1975. So we're going to talk about not just what happened with Bill Cosby, but we're going to talk about the economic implications of protecting wealth and the black male in America and some of the threats that exist for you that you may not know about. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey everybody, what's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. If you are B1, if you are black first and you believe that black people should want to be intelligent, put a hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1 is what we run by. B1 means we put ourselves at the top of the priority list. B1 means that we love our black families. B1 means we love our black women. B1 means we love our black children. B1 means we love our black community. B1 means we break generational curses. We don't continue them. B1 also means that we teach ourselves all about wealth. So give me a hashtag B1. I see you, Vernon and S.J. Mitchell and Carolyn Jenkins and Kevin Johnson and Sean Connor. All right, so let me ask you a question. Let's start with a yes or no question. How many of you are aware that Bill Cosby was hit with a verdict out in California? Give me a yes or no if you saw some of what happened in California. And I'm going to pull up the story and just kind of give you the background on it. In case you're not familiar, Bill Cosby was hit with a verdict today. And I'm going to tell you guys the background. Then I'm going to kind of give you the background in the background. I'm going to give you the story behind the story. I'm going to give you the extras that the mainstream media is never going to cover. You guys know I'm a finance professor, so I see the economics behind everything. I'm also an educator, and so I'm always thinking about things carefully. And then thirdly, I'm a black man. I've been a black man my whole life now. I think I'm going to stick with it because I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And one of the things is, as a black man who understands economics very, very well and who knows how to think, I can see puzzle pieces that you may want to consider. So one of the things that we're going to jump into. Now, somebody says, why did your caption say he did it? That's a copy and paste from an article. So I probably should have said that. But no, do I believe that he did it? I don't know that he did it. And I think that that's an important conversation. So here's what it says. It says this. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. It says a California jury has found that Bill Cosby sexually assaulted Judy Huth at the Playboy Mansion in 1975 when she was a teenager. Huth, now 64, was awarded $500,000 after 4 bizarre days of deliberations. Although Cosby's team has been accused of sexual misconduct by 60 women, this was the first civil case to reach trial. Cosby, who denies a sexual encounter occurred, did not attend the trial in Santa Monica. According to Tuesday's verdict, jurors believe Cosby intentionally caused harmful sexual contact, that he reasonably believed Huth was under 18, and that the actor was driven by unnatural or abnormal sexual interest in a minor, according to the Associated Press. It's a big setback for the once beloved comedian who was freed from prison last year. However, his spokesman calls the verdict a huge victory. Now, Bill Cosby's spokesman, I can't remember the brother's name, Andrew Wyatt. You saw Andrew Wyatt. Andrew Wyatt came on this channel and gave his perspective. If you look up that video on my YouTube channel, you can find it. He did a good job in terms of explaining his side of the story. And I'm not here. Just one thing I want to tell you is that there is no requirement in this channel for you to agree with me. There is no requirement in this channel for you to take one side over the other. When it comes to Bill Cosby, that I am not here to cape for Cosby. I'm not here to tell you he's a good guy. I'm not here to tell you he never did anything wrong. I'm not here to tell you that he's innocent. The reason that I'm talking about Cosby is because not only can I not tell you that he's innocent, but I don't think you can tell me that he's innocent. I don't think anybody can tell me that Bill Cosby's innocent or guilty. Because remember this, look, how many of y'all were even born in 1975? How many of you weren't even born yet in 1975? Say something in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat. Or if you weren't even an adult or whatever. Like I was 4, so which makes me kind of old. 1975 is a long time ago, a very long time ago. And one of the things that's interesting about this case is that the media will talk all day about the verdict. They'll talk all day about the money. They'll talk all day about the accusation. But one thing they never talk about is they never talk about the evidence. Anybody else ever notice that? They never, ever talk about evidence. They never, ever talk about proof. Do you think that, and give me a yes or no, do you think that proof matters when you're talking about destroying a man's reputation? Do you think that evidence is required when you're talking about taking a person's wealth? I mean, what do you think? Or do you think that for black men, the rule just changes? Seriously, I mean, so when you look at this Cosby thing, you cannot disconnect race and wealth from what's happening here. I would say that the interesting thing about these cases is that you often see racism, almost like that Black Wall Street style racism, kind of pop up, where white women show up, they cry a lot, and they say something terrible happened to me and a black man did it, and people just believe them. And then they pay them money. And Gloria Allred is a brilliant lawyer who knows how to take advantage of all of that. She knows how to basically say, look, hey, she coaches the victims. Hey, make sure you look sad and look, and don't have anybody look into your background. We're going to look into his. We're going to go get him and his background. We're going to scrutinize everything he ever did. But no one can ask you anything about your background, the fact that you smoked crack for 10 years, or the fact that you used to be a hooker, or the fact that you falsely accused other people. None of that's there because you're the victim. You're the sweet little lamb that never hurt anybody. But one of the things that I think is wonderful about this platform and wonderful about being around intelligent black people is y'all ask questions. Y'all want to know what was really going on, what was going down. Like y'all will ask a question like this. I'm going to give B1 people, intelligent black people have this thing called common sense. You have this thing called common sense, and common sense leads you to do things that are unnatural in the world of racism. Common sense says things like, why was a 16-year-old child in the Playboy Mansion anyway? Who took it? Maybe the first person Judy Houth needs to sue are the parents that sent their damn daughter to the Playboy Mansion, or maybe she snuck away. Nobody knows, but why? I mean, isn't the Playboy Mansion? I'm not familiar with all of it. I never went by there. I wouldn't go hang out with it in that place. I'm a married man. I ain't trying to be in no places like that where you run into allegations and all that. But has anybody even talked about this idea that a 16-year-old girl, a child, was hanging out at the Playboy Mansion? Like that right there is enough to make you say, okay, come on, man. Like what are you're hanging in a whorehouse? You're literally in a house of prostitute. I mean, the Playboy Mansion, that's what it was. You paid these beautiful women to come by. These powerful, wealthy men would come in and they would have sex because the pretty girls wanted to be around the powerful, wealthy men. The wealthy men wanted to be around the pretty girls. And that's how human beings get together, and that's how they reproduce. Things happen. So that question, it's interesting that question isn't being asked. And it's interesting that evidence is never discussed. They never discuss evidence. It's almost as if the accusation is the evidence itself. See, this is the way the world works when you're black. The accusations are their evidence. The verdict is their evidence. The media reporting on it becomes their evidence. But if you read through most of these stories, I challenge you to find any story. And again, I'm not defending Bill Cosby. I'm not a guy who's going to apologize for the fact that he should have been hanging out a little bit more with his wife. I think that he was getting out there and getting into situations a little bit too much. The drugs and the random women and all that. This is going to lead to my next conversation on this in a second, but I want to get through the basics first. This is the conversation I would have with my son about choices and putting yourself in certain situations. When you are running around and you think you ain't black no more, and you got a little money in your pocket, and all the Beckys and the Karens and the Melissas are chasing you down, telling you the man, and you think that you are immune like Teflon and can't nothing happen to you. You know what happens to you? Especially if you're a rich black man. You know what happens to you? Let me show you what happens to you. Anybody know this guy? Give me a yes in the chat if you know who this guy is. And if you know who this guy is, put his name in the chat. Who is that guy that I just put on the screen right there? Somebody tell me, who is that? Let's play Name That Black Man. Can anybody name who this guy is? This guy, for those of you who don't know, those of you who don't follow football, his name is Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson just signed the largest, if I'm not mistaken, one of the largest NFL contracts in football history. He signed a contract. I want to say he got about $260 million, most of it guaranteed. I believe he got a $45 million signing bonus. And they got Deshaun strung up like Kunta Kinte right now. They got that man by the testicles so bad, it's ridiculous. He has, I think, 24 different lawsuits filed by different masseuses who claim in a very vague sort of way that he engaged in some sort of inappropriate conduct. Now, I'm not sitting here again. I'm not here to defend Deshaun Watson. He clearly must be stupid if he's running into all these situations with all these random women that don't care nothing about you. But what I'm simply saying to you is this. Look, first of all, we know the evidence is flimsy. We know it's a money grab. We know that. In fact, let me ask you this. Do you think that they'd be going after these men if they didn't have hundreds of millions of dollars? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that these men would be getting targeted by Gloria Allred if they were just random dudes? Yes or no? How many of you, give me a yes or no, do you think that Bill Cosby and Deshaun Watson would be targets of these lawsuits if they were broke? This is me putting on my finance professor hat. I'm putting it on right now because this is an economic conversation. This is what it means to protect your black wealth, black man. You got to think about the situations you put yourself into, black man. And now y'all know me. I'm gonna challenge the Karens and the Beckys and the white folks all day long, but I'm gonna also challenge the black man, black man. You can't be running around with any old random trick that with a big booty, black man. You can't be putting yourself in stupid situations, black man, because they want to take everything you got, black man. And they know that you have a tremendous vulnerability in this society. Your vulnerability is the color of your damn skin. They know that if they accuse you of anything with no evidence at all, without any proof whatsoever, that people will believe them just because she's white and you're black. There was another football player by the name of Maurice Clarett who plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Maurice Clarett, I knew about Maurice because his father is one of my Facebook friends. Also, Maurice graduated from the Ohio State University, which is where I got my PhD. Maurice Clarett had a white girlfriend who stepped out there and said she got mad because Maurice didn't want nothing to do with it. He was moving on like college guys do. He told her, get lost. He had a party. He didn't invite her in. She's outside. She's drunk, banging on the door. Let me in. Let me in. And you know what she said? Let me tell you what she said. She said, I'm a white girl. I can accuse you of something and they're going to believe me because I'm white and you're black. And then she made an accusation that he abused her. And I believe the NFL suspended him off of the accusation alone. So don't get it twisted. Do not think. I need y'all to really make sure you understand that you live in America. I know some of y'all don't got post-racial. I know some of y'all just think race doesn't matter. And that's what happens. You get a little bit of money. You think race ain't nothing but a color. Dude, people like you, Boyce Watkins, you keep racism alive because you talk about race. Yeah, and then when your situation unfolds on you, when they flip it on you, when they remind you that you're black and hand you your Negro card, then suddenly you're coming to me complaining and screaming and hollering about well, you can't. Let me tell you what these white folks did. Let me tell you these white folks. I'm like, yeah, I know what they did. I'm not. No, don't get me wrong. I don't hate white people. I don't dislike. I got white neighbors. We're very friendly. Hey, Bob. Hey, boys. Hey, Bob. How you doing? Hey, dude, we're cool. We're totally cool. But just understand, I ain't forgot that we live in America, man. So you as an intelligent black man, if you don't have the intelligence to understand that you must be thoughtful about the situations you put yourself into, then you a sucker begging to get robbed. You an absolute sucker. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I also want to remind everybody, if you want to join on July 7th in the Black Business School, we are starting a program on a training camp on how to sell call options to make money. If you're interested in selling call options to generate income for your family, feel free to go to boycewatkins.com. The link's at the top. The discount ends tonight at midnight, but you can feel free to join us at any time. So feel free to just go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to join us for class. A lot of you have signed up. I look forward to seeing you in class. I will make sure I teach you well. And if you want to join us, then feel free to go to my website. All right. So here's the thing. I've studied economics for a long time, and I've studied race for a long time. And the thing about it is that I talked to my daughter today and I was explaining to her, I said, look, when you get money, you can't move the same way you did when you was broke. A wealthy man cannot move the same way a broke man can. A broke man moves, don't nobody care. They're like, oh, get your broke ass out the way. The broke man walks in the room, don't nobody hardly notice. hey, maybe you're not seen as a high value man. I have no idea, but I hate saying it. I'm not making fun of broke people. I used to be broke myself. I was broke for a big chunk of my life, so I get it. And I want you to not be broke. One day, that's why we invest and we talk about wealth, because I want you to not be broke. But really, when you're broke, people don't really track your behavior that much. But when you get money, you suddenly become a target. When you get money, look at some of these rappers that are facing RICO charges. Look at the rappers that are dead. Look at the rappers that are in bad situations with babies, mamas, and all kinds of terrible situations. When you get money and you are running around here and you're shining and everybody knows how much money you got and you're drawing attention to yourself and you're putting yourself in vulnerable situations, you become a target. You become a target of every scammer within a 100-mile radius. You become a target of every gold digger within a 1,000-mile radius. You become a target of every sob story, every bad business investment, every person that may want to rob you, every person that may want to kill you and take your money. Cardi B spoke very famously about how she would look for men that have money, and she would take them to the hotel, lure them in with little booty, and drug them and put them to sleep and get them raped by a tranny and take all their money. So when you have money, you become a target. So this means that black men, especially in America, that get money, we talking about athletes, entertainers, and anything in between, and then just men who have nice jobs. When you get money, you can't move the same way you move when you were broke. You have to move different because the stakes are different. The problems are different. The outcomes can be different. So ultimately, what I would say here is that when I look at Bill Cosby's life, and I'm not judging, I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback this guy's life at all. I get it. You know, I can't imagine what it must be like to be the most famous comedian in the world and make $100 million a year. I've never had that life. I've had a little bit of it. I've had a little bit of the attention that comes with fame. Because I've made some money and I can go to countries around the world where I've never been, and some people recognize me on the street, especially black people. This is just a reality of my life. And I did see some of this in that experience. And one of the things that I can say about Cosby is that when I look at Cosby's life, Cosby reminds me of something that I told you guys about wealth protection. Why do you think LeBron James typically shows up in places with Sabrina on his arm? Why do you think? I mean, LeBron could have any woman on his arm that he wants. He could get, there's no woman too beautiful for King James. You know, so why would LeBron James, Savannah, I said Sabrina, I'm sorry, Savannah. Why would LeBron typically show up to events with Savannah on one arm and his children on the other arm? Why do you think he does that? I mean, sure, he loves them and all that. That's important too. But part of it is that a spouse, a good wife, or a solid partner, that's a repellent. That's like hoe repellent. That's like gold digger repellent. That's the person who helps keep the distance between you and all the temptations that are out there for you. And so Bill Cosby, he didn't bring his hoe repellent. He didn't want Camille around. I don't know what his agenda was, but Bill Cosby didn't have the protection of Camille when he's going in all these situations with all these women. I'm not sitting here trying to say Bill Cosby's a good guy. I'm not trying to say that Bill Cosby didn't do any of this. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there is no proof, and proof is required before you go take a man's wealth and destroy his legacy. You do it for white folks, you should do it for him too. But also, I would look at Cosby and say, what made you think that you could go run these streets like you Hugh Hefner and go into all these cities like you Elvis Presley or something and live this crazy life and not have it come back on you? You know what? And then what's interesting to me is that there's no conversation about the behavior of individuals after these alleged incidents took place. I'm sorry, but again, black people, intelligent black people have common sense. So we're the ones who say, look, if you were blowing up his phone, trying to get back into his company, looking to hang out with him and bragging to your friends that you knew him and getting money from him for the next 5 or 10 years, your case doesn't have the same merit as somebody who did the opposite. You just don't have the same merit. Maybe you had an agreement. Maybe y'all both got together and used drugs. Maybe you just had a wild thing going on. Maybe you did some role playing where he choked you, slapped you, and pretended like you were dead. Nobody knows. But intelligent people who have discernment They don't fall for the innocent little Becky trap. The innocent little Becky trap says, I was just sitting there and I was a nun at the time. And I had never seen a man's penis before. And my goodness, I would never use drugs. And I had no idea that anything was going to happen that night. I just happened to be here in this hotel room at 1:00 in the morning, getting liquor and Quaaludes, right? Like that whole innocent little lamb routine, that only works because of race. Black women can't get away with that. Black men sure as hell can't get away with that. I can't go in a situation where something happens to me and pretend like I was completely stupid and innocent if I wasn't. So people are going to ask questions like, why were you there? What was going on? What was your expectation? What were you trying to do? Why did you keep coming back? Why did you keep asking questions? Why did you say that she was your friend for the next 20 years when she did this thing to you? Why is it suddenly coming out now? Why didn't it come out when it happened? Why didn't you file a police report? People are going to ask you all those questions because when it comes to everyone other than the white female, there is this thing called accountability. So I go back to my wealth premise. This is very important. Black men, when you get that fancy corporate job and you making good money, you will become a target. When you get that NFL, NBA contract and you got all this money coming in, you will become a target. And as a target, you have to be thoughtful about who your friends are. You have to be thoughtful about what kind of women you kick it with. I understand women are wonderful, especially, but now mind you, I've never been attracted to Karens or Beckys, but black women, second to none. Kryptonite. Y'all the most beautiful women on the planet. Some of y'all walk in a room and the whole room just melts because you look so damn good, right? You are the original woman. We know these things, right? And the thing about it is that temptation has plagued man since the beginning of time. Men have been, if you pay attention, now pay attention. This is about wealth protection. Most great men who build lots of wealth, if they lose their power or lose their wealth, it's typically because they could not exercise some degree of sexual discipline. They put themselves in a situation they shouldn't have been in. And the reality is that I don't care who you are, any normal functioning heterosexual male is subject to the exact same temptations as everybody else. Everybody is hit by the attraction to beautiful women. That is never going to go away. And some of y'all women, y'all know that. Y'all know this. Some of the women, they'll creep right up and say, hey, is Dr. Alicia not around? Where's she at? When's she coming back? She's such a nice lady, right? and then I'll be like, oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You trying to flirt, right? And so in this life, I mean, these things happen. So what I would just generally say to you is that when I look at Deshaun Watson, I'm sitting there thinking, why would a man with a $250 million contract ever even spend any time with any woman where there isn't some sort of written agreement or some sort of protection in place to protect her from walking out of there making an accusation against you? They haven't even really detailed the accusations from what I understand about Deshaun. They just like he engaged in inappropriate behavior. He made them uncomfortable. So you really mean to tell me, and pay attention, this is racism. This is racism talking. You mean to tell me that he got to pay millions of dollars to you because he made you uncomfortable? Now, give me a yes or no. Yes or no. How many of y'all have ever been around a person that made you uncomfortable? How many of y'all have ever been around a white person at work and they made you uncomfortable? Can you imagine? I mean, seriously, give me a yes or no. How many of y'all have been like around a white neighbor or a friend or whoever or a teacher that made you uncomfortable? Yes or no? Can you imagine? I mean, pay attention. This is the world of white women. This is the world that white women get to live in. Can you imagine if every time somebody made you uncomfortable, you could sue for like $5 million and be like, you have no right to make me uncomfortable? That's white privilege. That's what white privilege looks like. I know a guy, he's not rich, he's not famous, he's just a professor. And this is a true story. I promise you, true story. I advocated for this man. He was at an all-white university that is very racist. They don't even hire any black people. He was the only black professor on the entire campus. They came to him and they said, you're under investigation. He said, for what? Now this man had a stellar 20-year record, no blemishes whatsoever, extraordinary scholar. They said, you're under investigation. He said, why am I under investigation? What did I do? You know what they said? They said, because of Title IX, we can't tell you what you're under investigation for. So he's like, okay. He said, so who's my accuser? And they said, well, because of Title IX, we can't tell you who the accuser is, but we're going to conduct the investigation, and you're under investigation, and you may get fired and you may lose your career over an accusation that we can't tell you about from a person that we can't identify because we're working so hard to protect white women's rights, but not protecting yours. They worked super hard to protect the white woman that was accusing him, and she did turn out to be white. And they spent no time protecting the rights of this black man who had spent 20 years building up an impeccable career. And so you check this out, and you know what happened? And I advocated for him. I went to the campus and I sat in some of the meetings and I said, I don't understand this. What's going on here? And do you know what happened, what it was? There was a white female in his class 2 years earlier that he did not even remember, who said that he made a joke about being pregnant that made her uncomfortable. And she literally almost ruined his whole career. That's how crazy it is. That's how hard America works to protect them while they don't spend much of any time protecting you. That's why Joe Biden will pass a hate crime bill for any other group, but won't really pass nothing for you. It took 200 years for them to pass a damn anti-lynching bill. Seriously? How about you pass that sucker 100 years ago? Maybe an anti-lynching bill would have really been relevant back in 1902, but it literally took you 100 years just to give black people an anti-lynching bill. There is no effort to protect the rights of black people, particularly the black male. But there is every effort on earth to protect the feelings and the sensitivities of a white female. That's why a lady that was with Fox Sports, I think her name was Erin Andrews. One time she was in a hotel and something terrible happened. The hotel guy was a pervert. He put a camera in there and he saw her naked. Oh my God, he saw a white female naked. Do you know she got $50 million for that? $50 million. How many of y'all would let somebody see you naked for $50 million? Give me a yes or no. Come on, how many freaks and weirdos we got in the room? How many of y'all would let somebody see you naked for $50 million? I'm raising both hands. If you told me you had $50 million for me in the bank and I knew it was there, I would get naked right now. I'd get naked on my podcast for $50 million. I said right now, I'll be like, Dr. Boyce was naked on the podcast. Well, he got money. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'd be jiggling all my junk for $50 million. And so the idea, now pay attention now, the interesting idea here, I'm being silly, but the interesting idea here is that the white female is so cherished. She's so important. She's so significant. She's so untouchable that if you offend her, you're going to pay money. If you see her naked, you're going to pay money. In Black Wall Street, when the guy accidentally touched her body, all of Black Wall Street got burned down. Emmett Till whistled at her, and then he got murdered. Do you understand? Do you see the pattern here? Do you see the trend here? Do you see the trend? And the thing about it is that at the other end of the spectrum of protection from the white female is the black male. If you look at incarceration rates, white females have a very low incarceration rate, even when they commit the same crimes. This society does not like to put white women in prison. They only do it in extreme circumstances. But they'll lock a black man up for nothing. They'll lock you up quickly. That's because in this society, they are seen as gold. You are seen in the eyes of some to be almost like a rodent. People want to exterminate you. They want to eliminate you. And then when you become one of those highfalutin Negroes that's walking around with $100 million in your bank account, feeling like you really equal, like you really don't fit in, like you really have integrated, you really are Dr. King's dream, that's exactly when they chop your balls off in public and cut you off at the knees just so they can say, look at that Negro now. Or just to remind you who's in charge, who is the boss. So that's what I see. When I look at the Cosby case, I say, okay, Bill, you really thought that race didn't matter. You really thought you could just run around with all these women, drug addicts and hookers and everything else. And I'm not sitting here saying that every man should be a saint. I'm not saying that at all. People can do whatever they want to do. I'm not judging. I waited till I was in my 40s to get married. So I can't sit here and pretend like every man needs to go and get a wife tomorrow. I'm not judging none of that. But what I am saying is that there is a reason that you see smart men with good money who could have every whole, they could have every gold digger on the block. They can have any woman they want, but they're sitting next to their wife. LeBron, I bet you if LeBron was on this podcast right now, he would probably be able to explain why Savannah is emotional and physical and financial protection for him. And that's why LeBron is a billionaire. Bill Cosby is not. Bill Cosby been working for 60 years. He is not a billionaire anymore because they literally ate through him like a pack of parasites. LeBron James is a billionaire, and he's going to die a billionaire. And by the time he's dead, he's going to be worth at least $10 billion, partly because he knows how to protect his wealth. Deshaun Watson will never be a billionaire because those piranhas are going to eat through that money like nobody's business. And if he does not change his behavior, if he is not careful about who he spends his time with, these lawsuits, that's just the beginning. More of them will come, and more of them will get a piece of that money. And then he's going to be old and struggling, and everybody's going to wonder what happened. What you do with your personal life has everything to do with your economic outcomes. Black man must learn to protect your wealth. Black men, protect your money. When you get that fancy corporate job, don't go having sex with women on that job. When I got my job at Syracuse, I was hot stuff, by the way. I have to take a moment to brag. When I got my PhD in finance in 2002, I was almost exactly 20 years ago. I was the only African American on the planet to get a PhD in finance. I kid you not. Only male, only female. There was no male or female other than me. So I was the stuff. I mean, I was literally the equivalent of an NFL #1 draft pick. So I go to Syracuse University and I get this great job, making all this money, more money than I ever made in my life, because I was a star. I could write my own ticket. My father, God bless him, he's right there in the other room. Not my biological father, the real man that raised me. That's my father. He said to me, and I'm about to say a cuss word, so cover your ears if you don't want to hear a cuss word, or cover your kids' ears. He said, "Don't you fuck nothing on that campus." He said, "Don't you put your stuff in no woman on that campus. If you're gonna go do your stuff, you don't shit where you eat. You don't go and you end up having sex with the lady in the office next door or with one of those students. It's gonna come back to get you." And I followed my father's rule. I listened to my father, and I didn't, I'd have students that would come by and flirt because they thought they were grown. I looked right past it, had no interest, none of that. Check this out. There was another young professor who was there at the same time as me, the exact same age as me. So we're young. We're like early 30s. So we're still in that age where the young girls, young girls that think they grown, be trying to flirt with the professors and all that. We're kind of in that flirting age where the graduate students and the undergrads, some of them would flirt with us. Probably him more so than me. He was a good looking guy. And, but things would happen. Right. And he ended up sleeping with one of the students. He slept with a student that was in his class, and she got an A in the class, right? I guess she couldn't, if she got a B, that'd be something else. And literally 6 months after they finished their relationship, she charged him with sexual misconduct. And I remember hearing sexual misconduct, and I said, "Is that rape? What is that?" And I still don't know exactly what it was, but and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him. But literally, they had this man's face. Let me just tell you, his face, this is a professor, PhD professor. His face was on TV like OJ Simpson. They had his mugshot. It was like a mugshot or something right on TV. I don't know if it was a mugshot or something, but I was like, whoa. And so ultimately, I remember thinking about that. And I said, man, my father was right. So ultimately, what you have to do, really, you have to understand, and I think there's a parallel for women too, right? A lot of I've seen women who have money, who are doing well economically, particularly single Black women that are doing well. They get lured in by the men they call the hobosexuals. Dolores Jones had a term. They used that term. It was the hobosexuals. The guys that ain't got no money, ain't got nothing going on, but they got something good going on between their legs. So they come in and give you some good sex, and in exchange you take care of them and pay them money and let them sleep on your couch and all that, right? And so you see women get taken advantage of in a very different way, where the thing that they want is used to lure them in and to get access to their resources. But then also with men, it goes back 100,000 years. You put pretty women in front of men, our IQ tends to drop, and we end up putting ourselves in situations that cause us problems later on. So just, pay attention. The world is a textbook. There are wealth lessons everywhere. And when I talk to you guys about protecting wealth, I'm not just going to talk about buying put options or diversifying your 401k or making sure you have multiple streams of income. None of those things matter if you're out here in the streets acting a goddamn fool. None of those things matter if you're out here putting yourself in risky situations. None of those things matter if you out here tricking away your money because you don't have discernment to know that a person trying to live a life on level 10 does not need to be kicking it with people who operate on level 2. When you are a guy who's got a bright future and you're doing extremely well, why are you at the strip club sleeping with women who will kill you, ruin your life, and take all your money? Why would you do that? So what I would just say in general is that is that intelligence and discernment is extremely important. And the other thing that's interesting too is when you're talking about just general advice and thoughts on this, I can give you my perspective on it, but my advice is not the be all end all. But I will just tell you this too. I see a lot of people that get this weird relationship advice where they link everything in relationships links up to two things: what somebody looks like and how much money they have. If the woman's beautiful, she's a high value woman. If the man got money, he's a high value man. There's about 10 or 15 different criteria that determine whether or not you are a high value person that deserves to be in my life. What you look like is like step one. That might be step one. My wife is the prettiest woman I ever met. But there was about 9 other criteria, at least, maybe 10 or 11 or 12 that I evaluated to determine if I want to trust my wealth, trust my life, trust my well-being, trust my safety to this person. And it went far beyond just looking at the size of her booty. So I will just tell you guys, wherever you're getting your advice from, if you are a true king, if you are truly a man who's trying to be a king, understand this: kings have to realize there are always threats. Kings must be strategic. Kings must be intelligent. Kings must be observant. Kings must understand all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that exist around them at all times. And some of y'all sons of bitches ain't acting like no goddamn kings. If you out here making money and you got your little business and you're doing well and you're putting yourself in bad situations where bad things can happen to you, then eventually somebody's going to come get you. They're going to take everything you got and you're going to be sitting there crying because they got you. They tricked you into it. So be smart, be intelligent. I like to use that word intelligent. I know the word intelligence offends some people. Some people don't like it. They think that when I talk about black people being intelligent, that's being uppity. Ain't nothing uppity about being smart enough to know how to protect what the hell you got. If you can't protect what you got, somebody will always take it. And the person who takes it might show up as a pretty girl in a tiny dress. So you got to always be mindful of everything around you. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always live with your head on the swivel. And that's not just for the men. That's for the women too. So anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to go spend time with my parents. They're in the other room. I just wanted to address this Cosby thing. I hope that this conversation helped you. This is massively important about wealth. Understand the amount of money that they got out of Cosby and Deshaun Watson over time. If you invest that money over a generation, you're talking about $1 billion of wealth that is going to go to somebody else's kids because they were strategic, and it won't go to the children of Bill Cosby. It won't go to the children of Deshaun Watson. So you got to be intelligent so these people can't come and just take everything that you worked hard for. That's what I believe. That's my 2 cents. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget, July 7th, that is when we start the next Black Wealth Bootcamp. The focus will be one thing. It is to show you how to write covered call options as a way to generate income from your portfolio. It's extremely beneficial to you right now because of current market conditions. I've basically spent 2 years putting together a model, mixing economic theory with what I do for my own family, and I put it all together for you. So if you'd like to join us on July 7th, just go to boycewatkins.com. The link is right there at the top. The discount, the 48% off discount lasts until midnight tonight. So if you'd like to join us, just go to my website, boycewatkins.com, and you can join us in class. Please bring your children, bring your family. This is something that I believe was truly transformative for you. So I think you're going to love it. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day. It was real. I had a good time. And if I offended anybody, then I would say I'm sorry, but I can't apologize for what I say because I'm just not going to. So love you. Talk to you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, Triple 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.